Good afternoon and thank you for watching thv-at News at Noon. I'm Hayden Balgavy in for Michael Aaron. I'm kicking this afternoon off with meteorologist Nathan Scott. Nathan, I have to say, seeing that just cloudless sky over downtown Little Rock is a sight for sore eyes. I think I've seen enough rain over the weekend to last me the next month, 2 months. I mean, every time I looked outside, pouring rain.
Yeah, it was a wet weekend around the region. We needed the rain, but now it's great to see all that sunshine and very dry air in place. So you can see several miles past the horizon. Out there this morning, we start off with a typical January start to the day. Temperatures into the mid to upper 20s. It was 28 in Searcy, 21 in Clinton, 19 in Harrison, and 28 in Canton. With all that sun, we warmed up nicely. We're into the low to mid 40s across the natural state, and the feels like number a touch cooler because we got that light breeze out there. It feels like 38 in Stuttgart. It feels like 38 in Clinton. Hour by hour in Little Rock, temperatures topping out pretty close to 50 degrees. We'll hang on to plenty of sun, and then we'll slip back down to the 30s this evening across the state. Really a nice Monday. Temperatures upper 40s to lower 50s, mid 50s down in southwest Arkansas. And our weather pattern is going to stay quiet throughout most of the work week. Next chance of rain holds off until late Friday and into Saturday. I'll have more on that situation coming up.
Arkansas continued to see all-time high levels of new cases and active cases of COVID-19 over the weekend, and the effects of those jumps are now being felt at local hospitals. More than 1,000 people are in the hospital with COVID-19. The last time we saw 1,000 was back in September. Now, the all-time high for hospitalizations is close to 1,500. Meanwhile, adding up the weekend numbers since Friday, the health department reports nearly 21,000 new cases, and that includes more than 4,000 on Sunday. Now, when it comes to active cases, they have never been higher. We're just shy of 60,000 known cases in the state. You can see on our chart that is double the previous peaks during this pandemic. Now, the rise in cases is both causing and being caused by the increased demand for COVID tests. We've seen long lines and wait times at clinics across the state as stores and pharmacies struggle to keep at-home tests on the shelves. But some relief may soon be on the way. This week, the Arkansas Department of Health will buy about 1.5 million home testing kits for Arkansans to pick up for free. President Biden first announced his plans to distribute testing kits in December. Now, the White House is finalizing details of the plan with the Postal Service. After that, a website would let you order COVID tests to be shipped right to your home. We expect to learn more on how the test will be distributed here at home this week. As for those drive-through testing lines, you can expect those to remain backed up as the daily number of tests they give have almost tripled. Dr. Michelle Krause helps to lead the COVID response at UAMS. She tells us with demand so high, they are asking people to be patient and understanding.
Now we're seeing, 700 or 800 patients a day with expanded hours and expanding through weekend hours as well. Made us turn away or had to shut down our clinic early because we just couldn't get all the patients through.
State health officials say if you aren't able to get a test and you're showing symptoms, it's best to assume you're positive. If there's other people in your household, stay in a different room. And if you have to go into the same room as others, you should wear a mask. Meanwhile, thousands of students in Central Arkansas will start the week learning from home. Little Rock and Pulaski County Special School Districts will continue virtual learning today and tomorrow. North Little Rock is also virtual today. They'll make a decision by this afternoon whether students return to campuses tomorrow. And Jacksonville North Pulaski is using a modified schedule at Jacksonville Elementary, middle, and high schools all week. Half the students are virtual each day, while the other half is on campus. Now, this is also the first full week that new COVID-19 guidelines are in effect for Arkansas school districts, lining up with the CDC changes made last week. Students and staff who test positive for COVID must isolate and stay home for at least 5 days. That's instead of 10. For anyone exposed to someone with the virus, the rules depend on vaccination status. Now, staff and students who are not fully vaccinated need to quarantine for 5 days. That's not needed if shots are up to date or if you've had COVID in the past 90 days. The Arkansas Department of Education hopes it will help with staffing shortages.
Reducing the number of days that someone would have to quarantine from 10 to 5 if the parameters and criteria are met, we think will be a benefit to schools because their staff who are not showing symptoms and have met all these guidelines could return to school quicker than if they had to quarantine for the full 10 days.
The Centers for Disease Control says 99% of Americans live in areas at high risk of infection from COVID, and hospitalizations are up over 30%. Naomi Ruckham has the latest COVID headlines this afternoon.
The Omicron wave sweeping the nation is having a huge impact on Americans who are not yet eligible to be vaccinated.
We're seeing a lot of hospitalizations in those younger age groups where the children are largely unvaccinated, 5 to 11 as well, where vaccination rates are very low.
The CDC says an average of 824 children a day were admitted to the hospital this past week.
We might even just keep our 13-year-old out of class and our 4-year-old out of the preschool. Most likely next week, because it's just not worth taking a chance.
How much of this is truly Omicron causing bad lung disease versus you just happen to have it?
Here in New York, the city's new mayor is insisting that schools stay open despite the concerns of some parents. Health officials say there are steps that can be taken to protect children.
The best thing that schools could be doing right now is serial testing.
Federal, state, and local officials are pouring in millions to expand testing capabilities as demand for testing soars.
Testing is not only used for diagnosis, but also for prevention.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court is weighing whether to stop President Biden's vaccine or test mandate for businesses with more than 100 employees. The new rules go into effect today, but the government won't start enforcing them until February 9th. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
Justices heard arguments on Friday about President Biden's new rules for businesses and another rule requiring vaccine mandates for healthcare workers at facilities receiving Medicare and Medicaid funds. They're expected to issue an expedited ruling. Well, new at noon, Arkansas State Police are investigating the deaths of a Pike County family this week. Now, according to authorities, David and Meredith Claiborne and their 20-month-old daughter were found dead in their home in Glenwood on Sunday. Stay with THV11 and thv-at-noon.com as we work to learn more information about the case. At least 19 people are dead, nearly half of them children, in a devastating fire in New York City, and that number could continue to rise among those in the hospital. Officials say the fire started in a 2-story unit on the 2nd and 3rd floors of a high-rise in the Bronx. The flames only damaged the apartment and nearby hallways, but with the door to the apartment left open, smoke escaped and began to fill the entire 120-unit building.
This is a horrific, painful moment for the city of New York. This is going to be one of the worst fires that we have witnessed during modern times.
About 200 firefighters responded yesterday, fighting the flames, evacuating survivors, and resuscitating the injured. Many continued searching in the smoke, even as their oxygen tanks emptied. Well, fans and fellow comedians are mourning the sudden loss of Bob Saget. The Full House star and host of America's Funniest Home Videos was found dead in an Orlando hotel room yesterday. The 65-year-old was playing comedy shows and posted on social media that he was loving every minute of it. Jamie Wax has a look back at his life and his legacy.
Hi, it's time now for This Week in History.
Bob Saget's rapid rise to stardom actually started in news.
F.W. Woolworth was born. He had 2 sisters who were 5 and 10.
Not as a newsman, but as an in-house comedian on the morning program on this network in 1987. The show didn't last a year.
I was there 5 months, and then next thing I knew, I was fired, and then I got the job on Full House.
As beloved widowed dad Danny Tanner to 3 young girls, Saget soon became a household name.
Girls, I am taking all 3 of you out for Father-Daughter Day.
2 years later, he was the first host of America's Funniest Home Videos and the star of 2 top-rated primetime shows.
When you look back at your life, it's like you've had multiple careers, right? I mean,
I'm having them right now.
Saget was born in Philadelphia in 1956. After graduating from Temple University, he moved to Los Angeles and became a fixture in comedy clubs, where he was known for raunchy sets.
But we made these children, my wife and I. We actually made...
As a regular on the stand-up circuit, Saget continued to draw from those early days, injecting risque, profanity-filled material free from the squeaky clean image he projected on TV.
below my belt is safe.
New generations heard only his voice as the narrator on How I Met Your Mother,
I'm going to tell you an incredible story.
and knew him as a recurring Danny Tanner on Fuller House.
Bob Saget transcended generations, so older comics, younger comics, everyone in the middle loved Bob Saget.
Offstage, Saget worked tirelessly to raise attention and millions of dollars to fight scleroderma after losing his sister to the rare tissue disease.
Humor is the only way my family survived.
Saget spoke to CBS's Dr. John LaPook last month after his loss.
It is so healthy to laugh, and I'm out there doing it, and I know it's healing for people.
Jamie Wax, CBS News.
With people leaving their jobs in record numbers, experts say workers are in a better position to come out on top. We're going to explain why coming up at 12:15.
And sunshine is dominating the sky over Arkansas. I'll let you know how long the sunshine will stick around. Also, a warming trend in my forecast, and I'll let you know when the next chance of rain arrives.